Toastmaster Vidisha, the deep end. The deep end, Toastmaster Vidisha.
Thank you. So there's two ways you can teach a kid how to swim. The first way is the more civilized way. You take the kid to the pool, you show them the pool, you get them acquainted to the water, you probably enroll them into a swimming class. The second way, and the more common way I feel, is you take the kid to the pool, you show them the pool, you pick them up, and you throw them into the deep end. I learned how to swim the second way. The only difference was the fact that nobody really threw me into the pool. I decided to jump in. I was at the pool with all my siblings. They were all in the pool having fun, splashing around, and I looked at them. I had two options, jump in or miss out. So I held all my courage in my fist. I took a deep breath and I jumped in. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am Vidisha. I grew up in Kolkata in a big, noisy family, and I was the younger among a lot of older siblings. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be exactly like my older sister. She used to like drinking coffee, so I developed a taste for it. She used to like being in nature, so I became a nature lover. She used to like reading books, so I started reading books. And I even became a full-blown Potterhead just like her. I also followed her into creativity. I tried and practiced all kinds of art and craft growing up. And my parents were very happy because she was the perfect kid. So me following in her footsteps was ideal. Everyone was very happy. They all loved it until I actually decided that I wanted to create a career out of my creativity. It was 2015 and I was a science student who wanted to be a designer. My parents tried everything to talk me out of it. They told me that I was stupid. They told me it was reckless. They told me it's not going to work. And they gave me every reason they could to not go for it. But here I was again, looking at the deep end with two options, jump in or miss out. So I clenched my fists again, took a deep breath, held my breath, and I jumped in. 2021, I graduated with a bachelor's in design among the top students in my class. And soon after, I found a job as a graphic designer or a brand designer at a studio in Mumbai. What my job basically was to create logos for different brands. But one day, a client comes in and asks for something called brand strategy. And I had no idea what that meant. So I naturally looked at my boss asking for guidance. And like any good leader, he replied, figure it out on your own. So I fired up my laptop and read everything I could about brand strategy, and I fell in love with it. I loved it so much that I wanted to specialize in it. And I found a perfect course with stellar faculty, with a great curriculum. They were teaching everything that I wanted to learn. The only caveat was it was all the way across the world in New York. Everyone told me it was a bad idea, a bad investment with terrible ROI. It would be difficult, it would be overwhelming, it would be expensive. And my parents were not thrilled again. I was at the deep end of the pool again, and I had two options, jump in or miss out. So I clenched my fists, I took a deep breath, and I jumped in. I got my master's in branding and worked in New York as a brand designer and brand strategist for the past year. This year, I decided to move back to India, and I met with my old boss again. He was preparing for a TED Talk in Mumbai, and he said he needed my help preparing for a TED Talk. I met with him, I brainstormed, I helped him structure his speech, come up with a topic, and it went great. And I was thinking it must be so nice, it must feel so incredible to have something so interesting to say that a room full of people are willing to listen to you. But me, I could never do it because I was afraid. I was afraid of people. I was afraid of being on stage, forgetting my words, forgetting to breathe, and being judged. So I could never do it. And here I was, again, at the deep end of the pool, were two options: jump in or miss out. So I clenched my fists very, very tightly, took a deep, deep breath, and I jumped in and I landed right here at SLTM, trying to learn how to be a more confident speaker, because missing out was never really an option. Thank you.